Hello everyone and welcome to another Go Go Muffin video. Before we dive in here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification bell and drop a like on the video too if you're enjoying the content. Don't forget to join our Discord server as well if you're not already there. The link is in the description down below. We've also activated our channel membership which comes with all kinds of perks, so check that out if you're interested in joining. And speaking of channel membership, I do want to take a moment to give a special shout out to our current members. So thanks to all of you, and I hope you're enjoying the benefits. And finally, a reminder that all comments on every video will be automatically entered into our weekly giveaways. Winners will be randomly selected every Monday. So good luck, and let's get this started.
Alright, so in this video we're going to be taking a look at the Generation 3 mounts. That is the next generation of mounts that will be coming to our game in the somewhat near future. I thought it would be interesting to get a preview of what kind of stats and skills we can expect from these mounts and see how they compare to what we have in the game right now. We will be also looking at the Generation 4, 5, and 6 mounts in some subsequent videos, but for today the focus will be on Gen 3. So let's go ahead and start taking a look. As always, each new mount generation comes with 4 new mounts, and this Gen 3 is no exception. So the first mount we're going to be taking a look at is called the Capybara. Now, before I show this on screen, I will say that what you see on screen will be just a rough Google translation of the original Chinese images, but I have had some descriptions checked and made sure that I have a more accurate description of how the mount works. So let's take a look at Capybara as a starting point. So here we have the Capybara, and this mount's awakening skill is called opening skill is called Dream Bubble. Now this increases attack by 24% plus 7,000, and the effect will be reduced in half after 36 seconds. When dealing damage or healing in battle, there is a 30% chance to launch Dream Bubbles at all teammates, restoring HP equal to 12% of your base attack power. This effect can only be triggered once every 5 seconds. So this right away, if you have not already figured out, is going to be probably the best in slot for our healers. And you can tell this mostly by, number one, the fact that this increases attack by a large percentage, but also that it has this additional effect that whenever you deal damage or healing, this ability has a 30% chance to heal all allies. Like, it's an AoE heal for 12% of your attack. That's a very, very nice additional heal, especially since it can trigger once every 5 seconds during the opening skill effect. Now the stars increase. At blue 5 stars, you're going to get the enemy takes 3% additional damage when you're in boss battles. At 5 purple stars in boss battles, the attack reduction effect is delayed by 30 seconds. So the way that these Gen 3 mounts work is you have this attack plus 24% that lasts for 36 seconds, and then after that you have a reduction in half for the remainder of the opening skill. So if your opening skill lasts for a minute, then you're going to have 36 seconds of 24% and then 24 seconds of 12%. So what at purple 5 stars happens is it delays the reduction effect by 30 seconds, which means you'll effectively have 66 seconds of 24% attack before it reduces in half for the remainder of the opening skill duration. And then at the 5 gold star level in boss battles, when the opening skill ends, deal 5% damage as true damage, which is a nice additional bonus. Not such an important one for healing, because the main important stats for healing are going to be the attack 24% and the 12% attack heal AoE every 5 seconds. So very, very nice starting mount for healers. Now let's transition over to the mushroom. And yes, that is the accurate name for this mount. Believe it or not, I present to you the Mushroom Daddy. Let's pause and reflect on that for a moment before continuing. Anyway, so this mushroom mount is probably going to be best in slot for tanks. And now let's read the effects and see if that is accurate. So the awakening, or rather opening skill, is going to be Cold Mushroom Bombardment. Increases the damage the enemy receives by 18%. And again, like the previous mount, the effect will be reduced by half after 36 seconds. Every time you receive damage that exceeds 50% of your max HP, or the damages from basic attacks, reduce the damage you take by 3%, lasts for 5 seconds. So right away we have a nice little defensive buff here. So whenever you take damage that exceeds more than half your health, or you receive basic attack damage, which would mean you're the tank basically, because most of the times DPS and healers should not be taking basic attack damage unless they are the target of the boss, you get a nice damage reduction. So that definitely is good for tanks. And then the purple, blue, and gold stars here are pretty much similar to the previous mount. Once again, we have this additional effect that the halving of the effect will be delayed by 30 seconds. So we'd have 66 seconds of 18% damage increase. So definitely a contender for being a better tank mount here, because of the fact that it gives the damage reduction whenever you take over 50% of your HP or basic attack damage. Excuse me for waffling there a second. So next up we have the Falcon machine. Now right away I will say this is probably going to be a mount that is most likely just useful as a support mount, as its skills don't seem to really benefit anyone in any way. It is simply a damage dealing mount, which we know doesn't scale as well as those that increase your actual character's damage output. So the magnetic storm opening skill applies a magnetic storm debuff to all enemies, dealing 140,000% attack and increasing damage dealt by 6%. Every time the enemy loses 33% of their max HP, trigger an additional magic storm damage to all enemies, and can be triggered once every 45 seconds. So this is not that great, as you can imagine. It's simply a damage source from the mount itself, and not a significant source of increasing your own damage output. So pretty much this is going to be a support mount, like I said. Now let's move on to the fourth and final mount here, and this is going to be the Black Devil Dog. Now the opening skill is that the Black Devil Dog charges 2 times in a row. Each charge deals 210% attack to all enemies and increases the damage you deal to them by an additional 20%. After 36 seconds, the damage increase effect will be halved. So right away, this is quite interesting, because we have a mount that is absolutely going to be the best for DPS. Increases your damage dealt by 20% plus, which is kind of interesting. We're actually going to have a very large percentage attack as well from this mount. So it's not only dealing a lot of damage itself, it's also increasing the damage you deal to the boss. So the blue, purple, and gold stars are going to be the same as the previous ones, and you can see here the gold 5 stars as well is accumulated damage is dealt as 5% true damage after the end of the opening skill. So this is for sure going to be best for DPS, because not only will the mount itself deal quite a large amount of damage through its charge, which is 210% attack twice to all enemies, you're also going to get this additional damage increase of 20%, which is going to be for 66 seconds once you get to 5 purple stars. So these are the 4 mounts in Generation 3. Now what's interesting is, to me, when you compare them to the mounts we have now, it's not like, oh my god, insane, we're suddenly going to go to like, 5,000 damage percentage, it's so much better. Each generation of mounts is an incremental increase over the previous one, and bring new and interesting approaches that the previous mount mechanics didn't have. So for example, we have this effect being halved after a certain amount of seconds, and then you can offset that halving by getting to 5 purple stars, and some interesting mechanics like the healing bubble for all allies, which is a nice, probably I'd say the best healing mount effect that we've seen so far, and should definitely increase party's overall survivability. So there you have it. That is a little preview of the Generation 3 mounts, which is the next generation headed our way in global. So hope you found that little preview interesting, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye now.